Hey folks, it's Mr. Darling here. Hope everybody's well. I know this is kind of like a crazy time for everybody, but we're doing the best that we can with what we have. So what we thought we'd do this week is for FitCon students to send to you some videos of a few things that we think we're going to cover in our first unit, which is flexibility. We know that, obviously it'd be great to have everybody here. We can do some things sort of live, but we'll do, like I said, the best we can with what we have. The first thing we're going to talk about is static stretching, something that all of you have probably done at some point in time where, you just held a stretch for X amount of seconds and, part of your warm-up, whether you with a team or just by yourself and so forth. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about that. There's an information sheet that is going along with this video to kind of help give you some guidance as to things that we would like you to know, some things that are important when it comes to the concepts of flexibility, especially when it comes to static stretching. So first and foremost, let's talk a little bit about anatomy. What are we stretching? We're obviously stretching muscle groups, but also stretching a thing called fascia. It's one of the things that have made a lot of in a lot of different areas of the world of fitness, people talking about fascia. And fascia basically is this sort of soft tissue that your muscles all work through. It kind of combines all your muscles together. And so the fascia starts everywhere all over your body. And again, multiple muscle groups kind of weave in and out of that fascia. And we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But so we're stretching fascia, we're stretching muscle groups. One thing to think about when it comes to muscle groups is that the difference between a muscle tendon and a ligament, I think most of you guys know this, but a ligament attaches bone to bone and a muscle tendon attaches the muscle to the bone. So just kind of a little bit of a anatomy there. We talk about what are we stretching and what are we trying to improve here. When it comes to stretching, one of the first things that we want to do is warm up. Why do we warm up? We want to increase muscle tissue temperature. We want to increase the blood flow to the muscle groups. And what that will do is help our muscles sort of stretch a lot easier. Basically, it kind of lubes things up a little bit. So we put a muscle in a stretch when it's kind of warm and we've got some blood flow going in there. The stretch will be a lot easier versus stretching a cold muscle. How long should you warm up? It just depends on what you're doing. We usually like to look at kind of the moment that you break a sweat. So that might take you 5 minutes on a stationary bike. It might take you 1 minute on a jump rope. It could take you a 2-minute jog, whatever it may be, to kind of get your body warmed up and ready to stretch. One of the things that we'll talk about in the next video, we actually show static stretching, is the importance of breathing. More and more information I've read over the years and different seminars I've been to talk about the importance of breathing while you're stretching. And the reason for that is when you take your muscle and you put it into a stretch, your muscle will send signals to your brain that, hey, you're putting me in a stretch. And so the brain will send signals back to your muscle to tighten up and actually protect itself from going further. So that's what you feel when you do that initial stretch, when you like feeling for a stretch for your hamstring or you pull your leg back to stretch your quad. That initial tension that you feel is basically your muscles tightening up to guard itself. And so if you learn how to breathe when you get to that certain point by taking deep breaths in through your nose and exhale out through your mouth, and you do a few of those, and then if you work your muscles to sort of relax, and then even on the exhale, allow your muscles to go further into the stretch, you'll actually trick your nervous system a little bit. You allow your nervous system to allow the muscle to relax, which will allow you to get a better stretch. So when we look at how long you should hold a static stretch, I think we kind of always look at 20 seconds as kind of the minimal, 30 seconds as the optimal. I look at it more as breathing. So I usually look at like kind of holding the stretch for about 10 seconds. And then from there, once you find your sort of end point, take 3 to 4 good breaths. Inhale through your nose, exhale out through your mouth, long and deep. And on the exhale, try to pull your leg or whatever you're stretching into a deeper stretch, very minimal. And you'll notice after 3 or 4 breaths that you actually have moved it maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 inches deeper into the stretch because you've allowed your body to relax. So that's really important. We'll talk about this a little bit too when we kind of talk about yoga. Yoga is the be all end all when it comes to, you know, movement and breathing. That's sort of like where yoga is, and trying to mastering that takes some time, but we can kind of use some of that breathing with the movement when it comes to static stretching. So in the next video, what I'm going to show you is actually show you an actual static stretch and using the tools I just talked about breathing while stretching. Okay, thanks.